Hey, good morning everybody. I actually just recently purchased a new tool to replace my airbrush. So I actually bought another airbrush. This is the one that I've been using for the past 15-16 years or so. This is the Iwata HP BCS Eclipse. There are actually a number of different eclipses you can get at this point, but at the time I bought this, there was only one. It has served me well over the years, and I still recommend it as a good, well-built starter brush. It's expensive as far as a starter brush goes. It's about $100, I think, but it's a really nicely crafted piece of equipment. But I've been using the same one for many years, and I thought it was time for a change, and I recently discovered the Grex. This is the Tritium TG3. TG being its gravity fed, 3 being 0.03 millimeter, the size of the tip, and so the reason I chose this one, besides the sexy color, was I had been needing a gravity feed. The biggest benefit to the gravity feed versus the bottom cup is that cleaning. So when you're using this airbrush, the paint draws up through here and goes out that way. So when you're doing cleaning, you pull your cup, you have to clean out into here. You also have to clean out this, which is like a really narrow straw, and it's kind of a pain, and you know, stuff builds up in there if you don't clean it out really well every time. With gravity feed, it's all right there. Right, you can get access, even you can see the needle from here, and it's very easy to get in there to clean it out, although I can already tell that I didn't clean it out as well as I should have when I tested it out. But so that's a plus. And originally I would have said the downside was that most of the gravity feed airbrushes have, or at least back when I bought my airbrush, the gravity feed all had a fixed cup on top. This one obviously comes off, and the set actually comes with 3 sizes, so you're pretty much set as far as that goes. Another thing is that this is a 0.05 millimeter tip, the Eclipse, and this is 0.03, which is why it's the TG3, and you can swap it up and down. So there is a 0.02 tip if you want to go really crazy, or there's a 0.05, which would make it the equivalent of this brush, but I think the 0.03 should get me exactly where I want to be. When I got this airbrush, most of the work that I was doing was larger. I wasn't doing miniatures with it so much as I was doing model kits. I worked on Starship Troopers with this. I painted, you know, spaceships for the movies. And it got that kind of work done just fine, but since I'm working normally a lot smaller, I think this one's going to serve me a little bit better. You probably also noticed the pistol grip. I actually thought that that was going to be an immensely transformative experience. You know, as soon as I saw the pistol grip, it's like, why isn't every airbrush like this? But when I tested it out, I realized that this feels pretty natural, right? Having it like that, it's like holding a pen. And this also feels natural, but the difference is when you have this, I almost feel like I have a better sense of where things are going. And when I'm holding it, if I'm holding this, I have less of a sense of where things are going. But I realize that if I put this finger on the trigger and point with my index finger, then I sort of get that feeling again. It just feels a little odd to be pulling the trigger with the middle finger, but I think I'll get used to that. Some other nice things about this. So every airbrush has a tip protector. Essentially, this is, and see, here's the issue here. So they call this the crown tip. It exists only to protect the needle and you from stabbing yourself. And I'm not showing this. So there it is right there. So this piece at the very top, right? So if I want to take that off, oh, I'm taking that whole assembly off, because those threads, which are so tiny, stuff gets in there and it's almost impossible to take that apart without tools, which you should never do with your airbrush. Problem solved here, no threads. It's magnetic. And when you want to take it off, you can, and you can even put it on the back. Same thing. Why would you want to take it off? Well, when you're using an airbrush, you sometimes need to get really, really close, and the tip can actually interrupt the flow of the air in such a way that makes it sort of bad to have that on there. So if you take it off, then you can get right up close with your needle and not have that disrupting airflow. But it actually comes with a second crown tip that is less disruptive and still provides a little bit of protection. Yeah, the only other, another difference is the way that the trigger works on this one is you push down, pull back. So when you push down, you start your airflow. When you pull back, you start your paint flow. This, it's all built into the trigger. So you pull back, essentially when you're halfway, you have full airflow, and then as you pull back past that, you're controlling your paint flow. Now the only weird thing about that is that I had come to learn how to actually control my airflow a bit, even though that's not a lot of travel in this trigger. Sometimes I just want a little bit of air, or maybe I could just back off slightly, rather than going to my compressor to try to adjust the pressure if I only needed it for a second. And so I had a little bit of extra control there that I'm not going to get here. You may not, that may not be something that you ever even think about, because I think frankly you're just supposed to on and control, on and control. And so with Grex, you're going to be on, and then you're going to be controlling your paint flow. So maybe I'm actually going to be spraying the way I should have been spraying from the very beginning. I don't know. In any case, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to share because I was very excited. I have tested this once. It performs as I would want it to. Oh, I missed one other feature. This also has a limiter, so that you can actually control how far back the trigger goes. So for example, you want a line that is no bigger than this. Well, then you can set that here. You can actually buy that piece to go onto this, but I never did. And it would have made this more expensive. Oh, speaking of price, so again, I said this one you can get for about $100 still in its various configurations. This one suggested retail is about $300. You should not spend that much money because you can find them for about $200. I think I spent $209 via Dick Blick, and I get a lot of stuff from them these days. So yeah, so I'm excited about it, and I will probably talk more about it in my other videos as I get more experience with it and get a chance to really see what it can do. But in the meantime, that's my new tool. I'm very excited, and I will talk to you later.